Hey, would you like to hear something stupid? You already know what it is based off of the title of the video, but it's important that you ask permission before showing people something very stupid. You do? Well, take a look.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
You want to know what's funny about that very interesting man and the really stupid things he just said? Is that no one, including him, not I, not you watching, has a good idea on what could be the alternative other than jail. Because when you think, not even a week ago probably, with those kids who beat up that mom, you would think, what could be the solution here? Juvie, jail, incarceration, or maybe just a little bit of community service. How about those two teens that are now involved in beating a homeless guy, or I believe stabbing a homeless guy?
Teenagers are now charged with murder after a stabbing in the Loop Sunday morning.
The victim is believed to have been homeless. WGN's Brona Tumulty joins us now with the latest. Brona?
Good evening, guys. One of those teenagers is just 14 years old. The older one is 16. He was in court today. We are going to name him because he's being charged as an adult. We learned a lot about him today, including who identified him in surveillance of the attack. Early Sunday morning, right under the L, a 49-year-old man lost his life in a brutal and seemingly unprovoked attack. Today in court, we heard 16-year-old Wilnaker Rodriguez Vasquez was part of a group of half a dozen who approached the victim around 5:30 a.m. in the 200 block of South Wabash. Prosecutors say a 14-year-old made a swiping motion with a metal rod at the victim, while Rodriguez Vasquez reportedly kicked him, prompting the man to put his hands up in self-defense. The younger suspect then allegedly struck the man, with Rodriguez Vasquez slipping out a knife hidden in his sleeve, stabbing the man once in the back. It's alleged the entire attack was done to rob the man of a Halloween mask. A passerby called 911 and the victim, who's believed to have been homeless, was brought to Northwestern, where he was pronounced dead. It was stated in court the group took off together, got on the Red Line, took a bus down Cermak Road, and police say they were all arrested on the 2000 block of Southwestern Avenue around 4 p.m. 2 of the 6 arrested were released without charge. One, an adult, is facing charges unrelated to the attack. Rodriguez Vasquez is now charged with first-degree murder, as is the 14-year-old who allegedly struck the victim, and a second 14-year-old is accused of armed robbery. The 2 younger suspects, we're told, are also from Venezuela. Rodriguez Vasquez nodding to his mother earlier in court, blowing her a kiss as he left. He's been living with her in Chicago for the last couple of years and recently became a father. We're told his mother identified him in surveillance photos of the stabbing, along with one other person in the group. We learned today this is the first arrest for Rodriguez Vasquez, the judge describing his actions as evil and completely senseless. He is due back in court on the 16th of December. The 2 14-year-olds, meanwhile, were in juvenile court yesterday and they are due back next Wednesday. We're live downtown. Brona Tumulty, WGN News.
Well, them's just the breaks. Better luck next time. Maybe a little community service will do you some good. Speaking of community service, now this didn't happen in Chicago, but it goes in that same conversation of what to do, because incarceration and jail and prison is just racist and it's destructive. And we have all these statistics, and you go look at that 18-year-old who attacked and violated 2 16-year-olds and threatened them, recorded himself choking one of them, and instead of getting 78 years in big house, deserved life, he's getting community service. Man, I'm so glad we don't have an alternative. I'm so glad all we got is just a bunch of people in suits feeding everybody bullshit as things get worse for people who aren't committing these crimes and oftentimes are the victims of these people.
Been following for months now a Stillwater teen who pleaded no contest to 10 charges. Jesse Butler walked away with no prison time, and his community is not having it. Steph Manchin listened to protesters who say the justice system has failed again.
No justice, no peace. We're done. We're done not saying anything. We're done allowing to walk free. We're done seeing the people in charge allowing this to happen.
Susan, where are the kids got to go? Countless voices echoed through Stillwater Wednesday, their message loud and clear. About 100 protesters, mostly women, demanding justice in a case that's rocked their community.
No justice, no peace.
Nancy Janae Irving held her sign high. It reads, "No contest, no consequence." For her, this fight is personal.
As a, victim myself, I believe that women have the right to, to stand up for themselves and justice to be served, honestly. And none of these girls are getting the justice that they deserve.
Jesse Butler, a Stillwater teen, pleaded no contest to 10 charges. His community left in an uproar. Not only for Butler's victims, but for the lack of repercussions.
Butler faced a 78-year prison term that would have been about 10 years behind bars if he served them concurrently. But because of a deal struck between the prosecution and the defense, Butler won't serve any prison time at all.
The plea deal is it's not okay. It's not enough for him. It's not enough. It's a severe trauma that he's inflicted on these women. And for him to get a slap on the wrist, it's not okay. It just tells us that our justice system is so backwards.
For Stillwater native Adeline Smith, the attention on this case is surprising, but the outcome is not.
The DA and the assistant DA have such a history of either not filing charges against survivors or just allowing the rapist to walk free. I know that because I filed my case here when I was 17 and she wouldn't even file my charges. And I see that it's become a pattern, and enough is enough. And it's time for us to come together and say something.
No peace! No justice! No peace! It's a pattern Smith and everyone else here hopes ends now. Reporting in Stillwater, Steph Manchin, 2 News, Oklahoma.
I know that we have these conversations that also need to be discussed about false imprisonments and people being accused of crimes that they didn't commit and then spending months, years in jail and then finally getting out after all that time of collecting evidence. And yes, that's an important conversation to have. But when you're sitting here talking about how jail and incarceration and prisons ain't nothing but racist and we got to think of the statistics and all these important things, you cannot say these things without a proper alternative, and it has to be an alternative that means something, because as I'm certain a few of you have probably pointed out, you have people who go to jail for committing a crime, then get released, then go back to jail for committing a crime and get released, and then go back and get released and go back and get released and go back. So, it's not really a thing where people could be learning their lessons and coming out a changed individual. They come out and just love prison so much because they miss that sensation of Big Tyrone lubing them up, and then they go right back in so they can get another round with him in a very descriptive manner. I've said for a long time that our justice system is indeed a joke, and my point is proven more and more. The more you have these leaders who are supposed to create significant change for the people that voted for them saying stupid shit like this. You do not get far saying stupid shit like this. You just get more examples thrown at your feet as to why your community is viewed as dangerous, as to why you keep having Trump coming out and saying, we're going to try to send the National Guard to Chicago to clean it up, why you have people so displeased about leadership. That's because instead of doing something that would make the community safer, you got people claiming that safety or ways to keep them safe is somehow racist and is indicative of a larger problem as to how society's really not getting better, it's just getting dumber. But if you have an alternative as to dealing with criminals and crime, maybe you have an idea of a gun-free zone. Maybe you think making signs in certain areas, no criminal activity here, no kidnapping here, no beating people over here. Maybe you think that's going to solve everything. Maybe you think racism is the true divide that will make us finally abolish the prison system. Or for the love of fuck, do you realize that what he said is absolutely dumb and you agree with me that we need jail? Because without it, where the fuck are we gonna put these fucking people who do things that warrant them being locked up away from society for a long time? And I will see you all in the next one. Mwah! Happy Thanksgiving. And if I see any of you motherfuckers with a butterball turkey, I might go to jail for what I'll do to you, because I remember last year and what those people did to those fucking turkeys. Goodbye.